I was frantic when I wrote my original letter because I didn't know how to explain everything. So I just stuck to the cloning aspect of everything because I figured if I put lizards in it as well, people were going to go, whoa, change the channel. So I pretty much told everybody in phases just so that people wouldn't have too much to wrap their head around. And this is the thing that they said that could wipe the world, people panicking with the riots and stuff. Because the cloning thing, people cloning people's kids, messing them up in the brain is bad enough. Remotely killing people who they don't like. Thing is, the lizards. Okay, lizards been around a long time, like since before ancient Egypt and everything. They said that these lizards were the sons of Satan or whatever, Lucifer or whatever. They're not, though. They're just a species of lizard that survived the extinction of the dinosaurs by being way, way underground.
Okay, these creatures are called the Vril. They are not from space. They come from underground. They've been around since before cavemen. I'm not sure of their origins, but they are the highly evolved lizard species. They're reptilian. They actually can talk, and they're stupid, okay? They have said that they're not actually lizard. They're saurian, as in dinosaurian. They said that they didn't get smoked by the comet that blasted the Earth or whatever it was that killed the dinosaurs, because they were so deep in the Earth, they were unaffected. And they just stayed down there. They cannibalize on each other when they run low on food down there. There's other things down there too, things that aren't like intelligent at all, like prehistoric ground sloths. They eat those things way deep in the Earth, and there's a couple of weird things down there.
They're just not outer space aliens. They're underground aliens. Like, not extraterrestrial aliens, they're terrestrial aliens. And they just kept evolving. And they, perfect human killing machines.
I can tell you about the lizard Atlantean thing. Lizards did something to Atlantis. Like, Atlantis used to be called Thule, Thule, and they had some pretty good technology. They had saucers and everything, and they had a base in Antarctica. Anyway, they got wiped out. Nobody really talked about how that happened, but they hinted that the Vril tried to drone all these people. Now,
From recent revelations that cloning seems it's even way further back than that. But Hitler looked into history and found out about some stuff.
he heard that there was magic or secrets in Tibet, so he sent an expedition that cost like billions of dollars in today's money. A bunch of Nazis over there to Tibet to talk to these monks about where's this magic.
And it's public knowledge he went to Tibet to find out.
Well, the Tibetan monks were hiding Vril. They worship Vril, or at least they used to. And keep them secret.
'Cause they revere all life. Even these dirty, evil lizards that kill people, poisonous things.
The lizards can talk, basic speech, and they sound like they swallow helium, the small ones, the first type ones. So they told him there's some kind of base down on the South Pole there. They showed him on a map and said it's there. There's something underground there that the ancients had.
Where this magical place was, Shangri-La or Antarctica. Well, Hitler took a couple of them because they said that they knew where to point on a map where you had to go. So Hitler sent an expedition to Antarctica, and they went down underground, and they found another type of Vril, and the Vril type ones. The type 3s are the tall, long-necked grays type of things. Oh, and they found under there they found an abandoned Atlantean base with a bunch of technology. Like, it was like a hangar with a bunch of stuff, like big place. And
Hitler went there, found it, took it all back. He was down with this society called the Vril Society too. Like, lizards didn't even know how to turn the technology on. They they don't know how to make nothing. They got claws, right? They couldn't use instruments and stuff. They're really dumb, and they're really sad about it, and they get really emotional about it. The Vril did not know how to work the machines or like invent anything. They got claws and stuff. They're stupid creatures. Atlanteans used to use them to drone other nations. They were droners.
So they got all this stuff and started back engineering it. And it worked. They started figuring out saucers and everything. They didn't invent it though themselves. They just back engineered it.
He called them the Vril saucers, even. He named them after the lizards.
And flying saucers and all that, that's nothing new. It's an old thing. Made better with modern technology, like a gyro. You know, like what they put in the segways, so segways will stay up and stable.
Right.
They started putting those in UFOs too, because UFOs in the past, they would be kind of floppy, and they would go, like, they didn't have very much horizontal stability. But now with including a gyro in it, it'll be pretty stable. Like Nazis found it, and then everybody started sharing it around. But there was different pockets of stuff around the world. Like British people found some stuff under England in some spots, but there's different regions of different types of things.
Hitler got a hold of all the technology, started back engineering it, but he didn't get it fast enough, and the Americans and the Russians took it with Project Paperclip, and they took took all the stuff and started back engineering saucers and everything. The Roswell crash was a man-made saucer. See, the Russians and the Americans each got different bits and pieces of technology. The Americans got the saucer stuff. You know, the Americans didn't want one of these experimental saucers to go crashing into some town and get photographed, because it was Cold War time then. The Russians would have known they were working on experimental aircraft and with heightened tensions. So they put some squiggly lines on it, some couple alien symbols. The thing was just made out of mylar anyway. They said we didn't have mylar back then, but they actually did. They, you know, all the technologies, they have them way long time before they say that they have them. They got all kinds of technology. They might even got the cloning technology from this Atlantean base.
Well, underneath the deep underground bases where they have an entire floor devoted to cloning tech, they have a gene splicing floor. They have different floors for different stuff. And anyway, the lizards come up from underneath the deep bases, and they hang there with all the clones in the cloning floor, and they do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like they fight there sometimes and have the clones sit there and watch them, and that's how I got in contact with them. I met them at the cloning center as a clone. Like, I have extensive knowledge on them. I know their biology all over. Like I know what they look like. I know what their armpits look like. I picked them up there as a clone and everything. You can't handle them in real life because you get like something like foot and mouth disease from touching them. They're called the Vril, V-R-I-L. It's they can say the word themselves, Vril.
I met these stupid things when I was a kid there. They hang out in the bases there. It's another reason why people don't talk about the place, because you don't want to get bit by one of these things, because they got this toxic spit, and one of the most painful things in the world. And lizards, Vrils, they hang in the stands too, side by side with people, and some people don't like sitting near them. They smell funny, and I don't know, and they're really creepy looking. And so they sit on the other side, but the lizards really love it. It's like music to them. These things, I know all about them. I pretended to like them when I was a kid, because, man, I couldn't believe it was stuck on me. They're like, meet the Vril. I'm like, that's not real, that's a puppet. And I'm like, it's no puppet. That's something you guys made, because they make spliced things. They made all kinds of spliced animals, like beaver moles and all kinds of stuff.
They tried to make weapons for war out of making splice things, and the best thing they made was a spider crossed with a horse. I'll tell you about that some other time. It's not really important. It's big, but it's the best thing that they made. They made like rat scorpions, all kinds of stuff. Anything they could make, just to see if they could get medical science breakthrough or something that could tear through soldiers or something. So I've seen lots of them, and they try to pass them off as aliens to me.
I thought it was just another one of those things. But no, they're natural things, creatures. There's a lot to it. I'd only met the first type at first. They're smaller ones. They grow up to like, well, I thought they only grew up to like 1 foot, 1.5 foot, but when they get older, they get up to like 2.5 feet or something. The type 1s are covered in scales, like diamond-shaped scales.
Some of them are different colors too, but the ones under the Middle East have black scales. The ones under the British Islands are red scales, and they're pretty sick looking. I described them pretty well.
Their head looks like a king crab, and the eyes are on stalks and everything. It's disgusting.
And then there's another kind entirely, and their eyes are slightly different, but they're still on stalks. And yeah, they have gray scales, you know, a little bit bigger, and a little stronger too, for being small like that.
They got built-in sonar. They're real sensitive to sound and light because they're basically subterranean troglodytes, like trolls. Basically, they are trolls. Well, the sun would blind them, and they're really sensitive to sound. And there's even another factor to it.
Well, let's see. They for to not beat around the bush or anything, they can literally body snatch people. It's a biological property of their body, and they can take people over and make them what's called a host, a human host. Now, that's why that movie, The Host, was made. And there's different things like this movie called The Invasion. They're all over the place.
There's these things called alien parasite hosts, and they're all over the world. And you have most likely seen them in the grocery store and everything. It's like that movie, They Live. Man, it's crazy.
Nobody's going to say this for fear of clone torture, remote-controlled death, or death by lizards 1,000 times until you die by a heart attack or something. But I figured I have to tell people because, well, they're getting me there anyway.
They drone people in such a way. I have a picture of the ceremony. It's called the demonic possession thing. There's no magical nothing about it.
In the past, people used to use them to replace people because how they do it, these lizards, I'll try to put it in a nutshell, these certain types of lizards that have the parasitical aspect of their biology.
Well, the lizards have a thing, okay? They have what's called a proboscis. There's lizards out there today that have a proboscis on their face, okay? These things got it in the middle of their head, okay? And on the top of their head, this is the Vril type 1 and 2. The type 2 have a proboscis sheath that comes out, it sticks out. The type 1s, for instance, it's like a chocolate chip, it looks like, basically the tip of it.
And it's basically their small brain and spinal cord, where most of their brain is spinal cord.
Now, at one point in these things' lives, because they have a long lifespan, the lizard species, one point in their life, they can slowly wiggle this thing out, eject it, and it goes into somebody's eyeball, okay, another animal. Now, it wiggles in by the sense of taste. They described this to me so, like, when I was like 18 years old there, and told me about it different times throughout the years of going there. They can bring you there every single night if they want to, and they did bring me there every night. Okay, the thing squiggles in through the eye.
And the thing that comes out is real small of their head. They can move it like a worm, kind of, and then spirals around the optic nerve until it gets to a certain spot in the brain.
And it's driven there by taste. And they said once it gets there, it has the taste of butterscotch, and then it does a feeling like holding your breath and going, pushing outwards. And at the tip of this chocolate chip, it then starts what they call sweating the quill. Now, the spinal cord stuff comes out of the spinal cord, out of the chocolate chip thingy, and it's everything that the lizard is. The lizard's whole body is dead. The little lizard thing is dead, and it can't go back in. Can't get it back in. It's one way.
And they have to have assistance, like the human would have to be restrained or unconscious.
And so the guys, the drones that are drones already, they hold down the person to make sure.
It excretes this parasitical cell compound from it, and it just takes over the brain cell by cell all over, and then they can't do much of anything.
Like, say they do it to a human, they can do it to horses and dogs and everything. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, it takes up a human like a month to recover. And they can only lay in bed, get up periodically to maybe force themselves to eat and then lay down and sleep again.
Sometimes they say people are in a coma, or they've had a stroke or something. All kinds of excuses.
But when they come back, they are not the person anymore. They are then the lizard. Let me put this to you flatly. The old person's consciousness is gone. The body is absolutely, totally dominated, and the lizard is smarter as a human then, and totally controls everything.
They can stand up and look around and say, I feel much better now, right? Life as a human is better, they say. And while using a human's body and brain,
They get access to the person's memories and everything. Not all memories, though. That's another thing. Sometimes in some movies, like kids will ask their parents. Well, they'll have suspicions about their parents not being them anymore, and then they'll say, "Do you remember that time we took that trip to the Grand Canyon in grade 3?" But they never took that trip, and the parents in the movie will go, "Yeah, that was fun," and then they know, right? It's because they don't get all of the memories. They get a lot of them though, and they just continue to live. They get health problems. Some of them get their fingernails start going weird. They get rashy skin. They also get some kind of a thyroid problem, where the thyroid doesn't make this chemical that we all need, and they have to take something called synthroid for like hypothyroidism or something, and most of them have that problem.
But yeah, the things they call them drones, but I've taken to calling them hosts because people always say, drones, you mean the unmanned planes? And I'm like, no, they drone you, they then call you a drone, or a lizard drone. And too many people said the thing about the planes, so I just call them all hosts now. That's what they are anyway, parasited hosts.
I've witnessed the head wiggy thing go into the eye. They showed me. Now I have to tell you about why the Illuminati and the governments use them, okay? I'm saying this in a nutshell because it's very important. To the Vrils, the 3 different types, the small ones they use to drone people, to host people, because the proboscis on young lizard type 1s, they're small enough to go into an eye and not ruin the eye, right? Because they're supposed to do this to animals with bigger eyeballs, probably freaking dinosaurs.
or I don't know if there's other things they can do it to, but it seems mammal is the prevalent thing that they use.
So these lizards, it squiggles in, the thing takes over, total domination, right? Old person dies, and it becomes a totally compliant slave, basically. Does whatever the people want it to do because it's just happy to live life as a human being now, right? It's totally coherent, and it knows that its life is dependent on it mimicking human behavior, so it does really well. Even with other animals, it's smart enough to instinctually mimic the animal's behavior, right? It incorporates that animal's brain to, I don't know, it just takes over in the worst way. It's a parasitic lizard. It's nasty. Like, and they're the human then until they die. They can't get back out. That's how it is. That's like what the old demonic possession used to be. Man, it's pretty creepy. Like, all over the world, there's parasites all over the world, in the insect kingdom, all over the place, like worms and this and that. Like, I posted something on my wall about an ant parasite that totally takes over their mind, and people are like, oh, it couldn't happen to a human, but it can. Unevolved parasite can parasite on a human. I mean, like, it's not a tapeworm that runs through your guts, and it's a different kind of worm that goes in your brain and absolutely dominates. And I have to tell people about this. Like, I don't get paid for this, and I'm not like Icke. I'm not selling a book. Like, Icke makes a dandy profit. Well, they showed me the biology of them out there. They got 2 big screens at the cloning center, one over each side of the stands, and they show vids on them all the time. Like, that's what they watch the murder videos on. And These things on the inside, their brains look like hexagons, whereas ours looks like spewed out layers of custard or something. They look like their brains look like they got like chambers in them, hexagon chambers. But yeah, they don't have much empathy at all for anything.
Well, they're the three different kinds. Real like type 2 are a little smarter. I haven't seen them for a long time. They went down underground.
Type 2 is not parasitic, but it's still vicious, nasty, carnivorous. They're all carnivorous. And there's a Type 3 that's 8 feet tall that has a real long neck and looks like a gray alien, but it comes from deep, deep, deep underground, like below deep base deep. Like they need a methane oxygen mix to breathe, and deep underground they got sulfur pools, I guess, that make this stuff. Anyway, they come up underneath the domed bases. The government is complicit with them, basically.
There's the long neck gray looking things that that Phil Schneider guy was talking about. They killed him because he went on he went on blast telling everybody about them, and nobody believed him. Well, a lot of people did, but it's too late because they killed him.
The third kind is the smartest, the biggest and the strongest and everything, and they pretty much lord over the other two.
Real type 3 are the big things that run the previous two kinds like pets, pretty much. I thought that the first two kinds were the main ones, but the third one is the main one.
They even put what they look like in the Star Wars movies, the prequels, like the Attack of the Clones are in it. They're the Camino aliens that clone people.
They would be a representation of real, I call them real type 3s. Everybody else calls them that too. But those are the best looking kind of ones that you'll find. They would be young ones, but they get real ugly. Like that's the best looking ones you're ever going to find.
They're taller when they're younger, actually, because they got a real long neck, like a long neck gray looking alien. Seen them, big ones are like 8 feet, but it's a lot of neck. As they age, the neck reduces, like it shortens, and they got like a normal sized neck towards the end. I don't know where all the vertebrae are going, but they get shorter.
They end up looking like Pumpkinhead after a while, which is why they made Pumpkinhead look like Pumpkinhead. They put stuff into movies all the time, like to pretty much because, well, sometimes they're flaunting their power and stuff. They can, put it out there and nobody does anything. But then other times they're desperate to get the help of the populace to have it questioned and stopped.
Like real type 3s don't even have scales. They got skin kind of like a dolphin. And some of them have tiger stripes on them, like a tiger shark, They're supposed to be a little bit aquatic somehow. I don't know. I've seen them up close and personal. Their skin is kind of shark feeling, like with little one way it's smooth, the other way it's scratchy.
It's like shark color, like grayish bluish. And I thought the third one was a splice thing when I was a kid, so I didn't even think it was a real thing. I thought it was just the type ones.
So in the beginning, effectively for me, there were no aliens, and I didn't know which were the aliens and which weren't. Like, I knew that the real type 1s were, because when they make splice things, the scales are all messed up, but these scales look like natural and stuff, and then eventually I found out all about them. They told me all about them.
They've tried to say that they've had wings, but that was, they put wings on one. They were telling me all kinds of different things. They were showing me different ones with 2 toes, ones with 3 toes, and then they're trying to throw me off by telling me that this spliced other thing is also a creature from down there, and it's a big hierarchy down there. They just tell me a lot of BS. Right. Thing with that is, sometimes they get people there as clones, and they try to mess them up. They say, look, we have this turkey thing. It's a turkey. It's an evolved turkey. It comes from the Orion Nebula, whatever. It's just a splice thing with someone's consciousness barely running it coherently, right? They have, there's another thing. There's an evolved kind of turtle. It's called a kappa. Lives underneath Japan. They're protecting them there because, I don't know. They wrote about them all in the old woodblock prints and stuff, but they're not as smart as lizards, and they're not a threat at all. They're just, and they're not parasitic. They don't body snatch. They're revolved turtles, I guess.
They got all kinds of creative things. You've seen a few of them washed up on some beaches. They made all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, they Elizabeth sicked a couple of them on me. They can make gene splice anything, really.
What did she sick on you?
It was like a mix between a pig and a mole rat. The thing was all pink, kind of thicker, like one of those big muscular pit bull type of things, but its face was all twisted up and had the wormy things on its nose. They started lumbering at me. The thing is, how you beat a dog, because they sicked dogs on me before too. I got mauled. And she sicked other things on me too. What you do with a dog, the best thing you can do, if you can, grab a hold of the front forelegs and pull them sideways, because it breaks the legs, and the legs don't bend that way, sideways. So that's what I did to the first two. Now the thing is, these things weren't even like savage things. Like, they had a mouth, but their heads weren't very long. Necks weren't long. And I'd already been attacked and killed by many things before, so...
What was probably the most monstrous thing that's been sent out after you?
That's easy. The spider horse. They have this thing. Oh my god. Okay. See, I always hate doing these interviews because I think back and I visualize the stuff and it gives me flashbacks. Like, I'm actually sweating right now just thinking about these things. This thing, it's bigger than a horse. It's got 6 legs and what they call 2 front fighting legs. Now, it has something what you call a chitinous shell, light beige in color. The legs, well, best way to describe them are like a crab's legs, not the claws, but the legs. Walks around on those. Its body is big, and the top of it comes to a point, like rounded underneath, but then at the top it comes up to like a triangle, like not Illuminati triangle, but, and its head, it's got 1 eyeball, a mouth, and 1 tooth, but the tooth goes sideways and it's like a hook. Man, it's weird. And the 2 front legs are smaller. The most front ones, the fighting legs. It walks around on 6 legs, and the 2 front legs are like held up, and it can like, well, they're like little spiky things, and they can stab and slash. But all of its legs end in spikes. Like, I've seen it walk around in the concourse of the cloning center too, and they come to points, and it doesn't walk around too good there, but in the dirt of the cloning center it can walk around just fine. It's really fast. It can jump really high. I've ridden on the back of one of them once. There's no beating them, even if you have a sword or something. I guess if you had a gun you could beat them, just shoot them up, but they have a hard shell. Oh, and another thing about their shell, you can't keep your hand on the shell. You put your hand on the shell, and really rapidly it'll start to melt it. Like, if you put your hand on it and take it away, it'll leave a black mark. After like a minute, there'll be a black mark on the shell. If you were to leave your hand on it, it would start to melt right through.
Oh, man. I hate talking about these things. It makes me all edgy because it's pretty sick.
There's even different kinds of these Vrils that don't even know about each other, and they don't even speak the same language to themselves. They talk in like clicks and gurgles and everything.
These things come up under Earth in many, many different places, like worms from underneath the apple peel.
They have different hierarchies in different regions. Like the ones that live underneath, like Iran, are totally, well, sometimes they'll have a different kind of a variant language. Sometimes they look a little bit different when they evolved in different areas underground. Yeah, they got different leaders and stuff. There's more Vril Type 1s than anything else. And Vril Type 3s, they're smarter than the Vril Type 1s. And they pretty much tried to lord over Vril Type 1s like gods. But there's a lot of Vril Type 1s. I don't know hundreds of thousands or millions, but there's a lot of them.
And they're saying that this is probably the thing that's going to cause the greatest stir in human history, finding out about the parasite lizards.
They're afraid that someone's going to freak out and there's going to be riots and stuff. It could be the end of the world once people find out about this. This is the end of days subject. These things have always been under us, man.
People have kept them secret because in the past they used to think they were magic. They didn't know what parasites were. And there's other aspects to this too that keeps it secret even harsher.
They basically helped create religions, I'm told. Like, I'm not certain of this, but that's what they say.
Some people have them in religion. They call them fallen angels and demons and stuff, and they're supposed to be protected. And some people say that they're different things. The army of Set, the Egyptians said army of Set. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, they were in Egypt, ancient Egypt times, yeah. Vrils and other different things, they've always been around.
Well, the thing with the pyramid and the eye thing is the whole symbol is a joke. But I'm going to break that whole thing right now. I'm going to ruin it. You got to look at the schematics for the pyramid. I explain what it's for. It was basically a Vril trap. It's a giant cockroach trap for Vrils, okay?
That was because Vril Type 1s aren't even, like, okay, they're very numerous, right? They breed quick and stuff. There's a lot of them. But they're like the dogs and cats equivalent to, like, Vril Type 3s. Vril Type 3s are smarter, bigger brains and stuff. But the Vril Type 1s would become so numerous that they would run out of food and they would even start cannibalizing each other.
They don't even care. They're not even race or species loyal. They'll just cannibalize. They don't care. They're primitive things.
And the Vril Type 3s and the hosts that were pharaohs and stuff, they didn't want to get overrun. So they made this pyramid, especially this one, with the, they told the stupid Vril Type 1s, who will believe anything, they told them that they could go down these shafts.
These little vents that went in, they were at an angle. They were lined with smooth limestone, and anything that went in didn't come out because these crab nasties' claws, well, that's why I call them crab nasties, the Vrils. I've been calling them that my whole life. They couldn't scramble back up and out.
They would say, go slide down these shafts and be with the pharaoh and go to the other dimension with the pharaoh. Now, they wanted to get into this place and be with the pharaoh, possibly eat a piece of him to become magic or something. I don't know, they're really, really stupid things. They would go down there, and they would eventually, after running around trying to find a way out, they would eventually end up in the bottom chamber, which is a pit that goes straight down. And the thing is, this is the obvious thing about it. Okay, the inside of that pyramid has been gone over with brushes and a fine-tooth comb, right? Everywhere. The walls, the floors, the ceilings. Well, in the very, very bottom chamber, there's a pit, a vertical pit that goes straight down, a square shaft, and it's full of what they call rubble. It's all filled in with rubble and rocks, and it was never excavated. Doesn't that strike you as odd? Everything else has been dusted off and looked at with like a microscope, right? Part of their religion is they can't be seen. They don't want to be seen because, they'd all end up getting killed then.
Right.
And plus, for some reason, they rot to nearly nothing. Like, they leave behind skin and scales and stuff. Their bones are hollow, like birds, like lizards. Bones are hollow too. Like when they first went into the pyramid, they said there was an abundance of scales all over the place, right? And they thought that the pharaoh was maybe secretly a worshiper of Set and was buried with a bunch of snakes. There's some of these scales are in museums in Egypt, right? And thing is, they weren't snake scales. They were Vril scales from Vril type 1s.
But the drones today have erased, of 100 years ago, erased any existence of these Vril lizards from like Egyptian carvings on walls. They would smash them, right? Or books that had anything in them about them, they would burn them. Because drones don't want to get found out and sent off and killed.
Well, some of these things, Brotherhood of the Snake, Dragon Society and stuff, it's all about the lizards. Little dragons, those are the Vril type 1s. Anyway, different religious cultures and sects and stuff started interacting with them. China was big into them. Israel was big into them.
Like the Tibetan monks have been hiding those things to keep them safe, because they say that they're a living sentient creature and they deserve to live, and that God put them here for a reason. What do? Oh, they parasite people's heads. Well, they must be doing that for a reason, so it's nature, and they should be allowed. Tibetan monks are disgusting. The Dalai Lama knows all about this. The Dalai Lama told him to kill me. Said he didn't want to be known as a person that went to the cloning center. Said he didn't want to be known as a person that was involved with real lizards. Tibetan monks are going to have a real bad day at the end of this. Well, they could walk up to the surface, but if they're seen, they're discovered and it's ruined. Like, their secrecy is part of a lizard's religion, right? Like parasite psychology, hide in the shadows and stuff. They come up underneath the underground bases. The underground bases have connecting tunnels underneath of them, and they go way down deeper. And they come up, they have little stairs made for the stupid things and everything. They walk right up and they sit around in the stands with them and everything. It's sick. And they're all over the world. They come up and underneath different parts of the world. Well, they're really paranoid. They're parasitic creatures. Now, parasitic psychology is really cowardly. They slink around in the dark. Have humans help them. Like the Danish kings, the wealth of the Danish kings and everything, that was because they were trading with real lizards from underground, bringing them up amethysts and diamonds and everything.
They would trade the Danish kings gems and gold, raw gold, like just crude gold that they mined. They don't need them, right? And they would give them animals, children, all kinds of things, and just cart them down tunnels and cages and stuff. They had a good little trading thing going.
That's where a whole bunch of these kings got their money from. Nobody knows where they got all this gold, all this money. They must have found El Dorado. No, they were trading children to lizards.
Well, the Rothschilds have been helping lizards for like hundreds of years. These bloodline families, they're just lizard helpers. They helped lizards in the past, and lizards favored them in the past.
Anyway, Queen Elizabeth is really in with these things, okay? Her family has been for a long time. Now, these bloodlines, all that they are super inbred people, okay? What the edicts of Lucifer, like my family are down with this stuff. That's why I don't talk to them anymore. Inbreeding makes you strong. Pedophilia keeps you young, and helping lizards gives you good luck or something from the devil and stuff. They used to do this thing.
Some of them, Luciferian thing, if you kill your firstborn son, you'll get fortune from the Dark Lord, right?
Okay.
Some of them used to, well, I'm not sure if they do anymore, but they used to drone one of their kids that are in their family to prove their loyalty, right?
It's pretty sick. So anyways, yeah, all that stuff is, not true, and they know it. They just keep it going for like some stupid club, like the Devil Club. Ooh, we're cool, we're evil.
Do you know
Yeah.
how many children go missing every year? Do you know the actual number, dude?
It's in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
what do people do about it? And it's concentrated around certain areas.
Yes, it
do you
is.
know why?
No, I don't
Well,
know.
sometimes it's retards. And
What
perps and stuff.
underground bases maybe?
That's what we think.
Underground bases and aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you last time that aliens are extreme perverts?
There's a few different things that happen. The things that I've seen, like I've seen a couple of these kids that have gone missing, and what happens to them? Well, they get taken to be used for sex underground, of course, by either aliens or clones that are in this place, or real people that manage to get to these bases and go down to, mess with them. Some of them, they get eaten, though. They get literally eaten. Not by people, well, sometimes, but by aliens and stuff.
They don't only drone people, they eat people. Their favorite food is humans and goats. Goats and the type 3s like poultry blood.
Sometimes they just drain the blood out of them. Sometimes they eat the solids too. But see, some of the aliens, their favorite parts of solids, for the ones that do eat solids, some just drink blood. But the ones that eat solid, their favorite is brains and pancreas. They told me before themselves, they said pancreas to them tastes like cantaloupe.
Whoa.
Like, totally. Their sense of taste is so much different than ours.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, bad smells good to them. Like, they even like human excrement. It tastes like candy to them.
Tastes like
Depending on
chicken.
what the person's been eating. Yeah, they eat it. To them, it smells like flowers. Really, it's pleasant. They like it. It's like a treat to them.
Governments get them people to eat. It's disgusting. You would think that the government people were drones.
Now, there's hints of it all over the place. People think that it'll never be believed or anything, but rich people and some celebrities and some world leaders and stuff own these things for pets. They all call it with the secret of Vril, right?
Like Elizabeth's one is called Matilda, and Kissinger's one is called Herbert, right? And they occasionally get a hold of a real kid and bring it to the cloning station and feed a kid to one of these lizards. It's like Alf, the show Alf, runs around trying to eat cats and stuff. Everybody thinks it's cute. Well, these things, their favorite food is human kid.
The reason they like eating kids, they said it's like a lobster. Like, I don't like seafood. People tell me that smaller lobsters taste better. Like, old ones are not as good. It's the same type of thing with kids. Like, also,
Because it has less vaccinations in it. Because some vaccinations, after a certain age, will, if they drain the blood out of a thing, the real lizard will die from the vaccinations, or get real sick, or taste bad or something to them.
And kids aren't smokers. They don't like the blood of smokers because it tastes to them. They said it does taste like an ashtray or something in with the blood.
So they get kids, they put them in a pit with this thing sometimes. I've seen it there.
and it's like a ceremony or something. The lizard will be sitting on the person's lap.
These things are a foot tall, right? As clones, you can sit with them, but if you were to do this in real life, it gives you warts to handle them and everything. And it doesn't matter with clone because they recycle to a new clone after so often anyway. REM-driven Mark II ones anyway.
And there'll be a kid out in the middle. And, like, I haven't really gotten into it a lot, the whole thing with that, but what they'll do is they'll make the kid, like, not all the kids there are, like, unwilling. Some of them like playing these grown-up naked games, right? and it's all very disgusting. So they'll get this kid out in the center, 5-year-old or something, and they'll be really, how do you call it, promiscuous. They'll act that way, and then they'll go along with it and everything. But then afterwards, they'll say, "You're like you're a dirty girl" or something like that, and she'll go, "Oh, I thought that's what we do." No, God wouldn't like that. And then it's like they set up a feigned anger against the kid or something because they don't want to feel bad. They want to dehumanize this kid before they see it get killed so that they won't feel bad themselves or something.
And what they do is they like to scare their food too before they eat it, because
when people get scared, and animals and stuff, like they put out adrenaline, adrenal glands, and then this does something through the blood that makes it taste richer to them.
And they get a slight high off of it from eating it. I've seen it done as a clone myself.
They get a strange effect from the adrenaline. It gives them like a buzz. Like some of them have called it bliss. They call it bliss, is the word for the blood with the adrenaline in it.
Anyway, I watched them getting eaten. I tried to help a couple times. No. They press a button and they can paralyze your clone. You just flop. And like you can still see everything, you can't move though. But yeah, they made me watch that. They're all over the place. Elizabeth helps them find bodies for people to drone. She gets real people brought to the cloning center and eaten by the things.
I'll just tell you, I know it sounds retarded. The damn things can talk, okay? But they don't have a tongue.
They were all asking, "What are we going to do, Darnie? We don't want to kill you." It's disturbing to look at them talking to you.
I'd tell you about their mouths, but it takes a while. Basically, they have a blood spike.
It's a spike on one of their vertebrae behind their mouth, and between the vertebrae, they push down on their heads like if you were squished down your neck. It pushes it down, and then the spike goes kadunk, and like it pops out like that, and they can go and shoot it out.
So when they push down on their head, that vertebrae pops totally right out frontwards, right? It doesn't detach or anything. It pops out frontwards, and it spikes whatever he's going to try to kill or eat.
And then they sucker onto you with their mouth. It's not like a ganashing thing. It's they blood dart you pretty much, and then they sucker onto you and they latch on with the claws, right?
And then they do like a swishing motion, swishing spit in and out of the wound.
They got this spit that just debilitates you. It's worse than like Komodo dragon spit. It's made for like taking down big animals, I guess. It totally seizes you up, and it makes black and purple veins form on the surface of your clone's arms and spreads all over you. And when they turn into human drones, they don't get to keep the spit either. It's partially their stomach acid, the lizards. Yeah, it's how they debilitate the prey when they get on them.
Yeah, it drops them, and then they just can drain the thing. But yeah, and I know a lot about them.
This is what they call a chupacabra, too. They come up from underground different spots all over the world, and then they infiltrate the society there.
Anyways, I'm telling everybody because they had them biting me out there as a clone all the time for punishment for talking about them and about cloning. So I'm just going to talk about them anyway.
It is a literal crisis. It's the biggest emergency the world's ever faced, worse than Nazis. And Nazis are down with them. Elizabeth found out about them when she was young, and everybody kept them secret because they used them for politics to replace people, because they were always agreeable to take someone over and then play the part, as long as they can live well and, get to live as a human, because life as a human is much better than a dirty lizard living underground.
They get more bodies to inhabit for their friends back underground and stuff. Ensured safety, keeping them secret, different stuff.
Some of these disgusting Illuminati guys are pretty ugly, and they have no hope of getting a wife, so they drone people like beautiful women and then have the drones marry these men, that whoever wants this woman, and they don't care that it's a lizard consciousness. They just do it, and it's still murdering the other person, though. But well, it's they don't rot or anything, but I look at it like going out with a corpse, right? Like, it's pretty disgusting. They emulate human behavior pretty well. It's in their instinct to copy, being a parasitical life form, but man, they're still just gross, and they don't think right, they don't work right. They freak out all the time. I don't know. This is what they do. They use them to replace people, and they're all over the place. They're all over Hollywood. There's celebrities that are these lizard things too. It's a Luciferian thing, and it's pretty sick, so I had to tell the world. And yeah, I'm expecting to be killed, really.
By the way, that's why they cover up the eye. The eye covering thing the Illuminati does, and then they go, shh.
Yeah.
Now you know the reason they're doing that. It's like, don't get the thing in your eye, and shh. Don't tell anybody you know about the things that stick the things in your eye, because you might get a thing in your eye. When the Vril Type 1 take over a person and do that in the eye, sometimes, not every time, sometimes it makes the eye, well, the brain and back of the eye swells, right? And then sometimes permanently one of the eyes will become a little bit bugged out and more pronounced than the other one, which happens sometimes to people anyway. Sometimes some people just aren't totally symmetrical.
Now,
But there's a lot of them. They're in the government and everything.
Why do you think they made that movie called The Host? It's to gain sympathy for hosts.
Yeah.
But it's not a timeshare. It's total takeover, and the previous person dies. It's not sane.
Okay, reptilian shapeshifters. The thing that all these people talk about on these conspiracy theories and stuff, there's hints about them in movies and in music and everything.
People, they know that there's reptilians, but they don't know the skinny on reptilians. The reptilians are not multidimensional. It is this dimension. It all happens in this one dimension, and it's not mystical or magical at all. It's a biological property of their body. They can body snatch people, and the Illuminati use them to replace people that are a problem. And they can't morph. They don't have scales. They don't have slits for eyes. I have seen the slit eye things in videos and stuff, like the football coach that his eyes went weird or whatever. But at the clone station, they've talked to me about this at length, like, and they said they got everybody snowed. Like, they sometimes do that on purpose to throw people off. Like, I've never seen a drone that's out there, and they're weird to talk to, too. They're not right. I've never seen a drone out there have any kind of visual difference other than an eye that bulges out a little bit from the droning process.
They don't have any superpowers. They don't sprout scales. Like, people that tell me that, I'm like, okay, sprouting scales, that would hurt some bad, wouldn't it? And then reverting back to human again, wouldn't those sharp scales leave like a scar somewhere, one scar or anything, right? What do the scales do? Do they retract into the skin? You know, this whole shape-shifting thing was promoted by the lizards and the hosts to throw people off.
They laugh at people that say that stuff because they put MK Ultra visualizations, like it's like illusions that only you can see as a clone, and it's better than computer graphics. And
most people get whacked out from MK Ultra and stuff, but they tried to minimize that with me so I could be still good at making these songs and stuff. Like, I don't mention the songs and stuff because I'm not gonna say like Metallica, Sanitarium, and what's the other one? The Enter Sandman are about REM-driven cloning, and yeah, they call them demons and everything, Oni and gremlins and doppelgangers, everything like throughout history, and everybody keeps them a secret somehow. And when they didn't keep them a secret, and they wrote stuff down, they destroyed that evidence.
these things are all over the place, and they mimic human behavior. In fact, one of their names in the past is Mimic.
You have seen one before in your life. They walk around in the public. It's why that Dmitry Medvedev, the Russian guy, was saying that if people knew how many aliens were among them, the world would panic, and, you know, and they probably would, because It's pretty sick.
They do this lizard thing a lot, like in a lot of different countries. It's not just an isolated thing, and these things walk around all over the place.
But it's easy to medically test to see who is a host and who's not.
You have to detect them with a CT scan or an MRI.
Okay.
See damage behind the eye and damage the frontal lobes of the brain. And the lizard thing, they tried to convince me that, and others, that it was a worldwide takeover thing, that they had already taken over so much that all was lost. You better just go along with it, but that's not true.
There's a lot of hosts in the world. There's a lot of parasited hosts in the world, more than I thought.
They don't outnumber humans or anything, but they're in high places. But the human people that help them out of fear and out of evil, they're scared of being found complicit and being executed, pretty much. That's what they're saying there. They're talking to me like constantly. Now, they left me alone there for a while, but then they brought me back there again, and I thought that they were going to just leave me alone and I could tell people about this and raise people's awareness about the things and their critters. And but no, they're bringing me back now. Now they're all freaking out. And I said, you guys are probably going to get messed up. Think about it. You execute kids to these things sometimes, kidnapping kids, sending them to the things and watching it like a show. Like they're messing me up right out there. But real kids, though, not even just clones. And clone's bad enough. It hurts, right?
It seems like they want lizards gone, but they're afraid of telling the world about hosts.
But these little Vril things that stick their things up into people's eyes, you have to kill them all. It's a very imperative thing to the human race.
They're going to have to all be wiped. Like,
Sure.
It's going to be really sick looking. It's going to look like, okay, first of all, a parasite-hosted human of a lizard is not a human anymore. That thing does not have rights. It is lower than a dog. It begins its life as human as a murderer. It murdered the previous human. It doesn't think like a human. It has a different train of thought. They're malevolent things.
A lot of the people that you hear about in the news that are getting people and chopping them up in the basement and eating them and stuff, frying them up, these are what they call drones. They're parasited hosts of the lizards. They like to make them. Some people say, how can a human being think something like that? And the thing is, it's because it's not a human being. It's a parasited host of a human being. The only thing a drone wants to do is make more, have sex, and torture someone. Like, it's a different kind of mentality. It's hard to explain. When they, at the cloning station, when they victimize someone, it gives them a powerful feeling, and it's the nerdy way, you know, that nerdy aspect of it. I got something over someone, but they do that to the extreme.
When they're drones, they're pretty sick. They have no compassion for anything.
Like, lizards are in high places on Earth, okay? Like, they've been doing this for hundreds of years, but the only thing is, if a drone reproduces, the kid that they have is not a drone. It's just normal human, right? They have more birth abnormalities than a regular person, but it's just a normal human. They'd have to have that new kid droned with a lizard.
They're going to have to get wiped, and they're going to cry. They're going to, no, please don't kill me. I didn't want to drone this human. It's going to look like a Nazi death camp or something.
Like, this is what I thought FEMA camps were for, rounding up drones, because they've been talking about it at the cloning center.
But you got to kill these things because it's bad. Like, every human on Earth knows what a parasited host is. It's pretty much just like the Stargate show, the Stargate movie and series. It's kind of like that, but not so much outer space stuff and wormholes and stuff. Just lizards, parasitic lizards that drone your brain. It's disgusting.
And people think that I'm either dead or taken over by some kind of parasitic lizard. You wouldn't be able to tell, dude. They know my mannerisms, my speech patterns, and everything, and they don't call them mimics for nothing. When you will be able to tell, and for everyone out there, you'll be able to tell when I start taking things back, little bit by little bit. That's when you'll know, because I'll never take nothing back, because I only very carefully have told things that I am only certain about. I don't assume, only things that have been proven to me.
They just point out showed me so much stuff flat out, thinking that I'd never be able to cohesively put it all together to tell people about it in a believable fashion, and that the technology of doing this is to advance for people to believe. But after seeing all that I've seen, I have to tell as many people as I can, because they kill people with these lizards, and I don't want to walk around in a world with those parasited human hosts in it.